My name is Zach Bagans. I'm very demure, very mindful, very cutesy. See how I dress. I do not show off too much of my chi-chis or my chucha.
There are things in this world that we cannot fully understand, and it's not demure. As always, make sure to follow my social media accounts at It's Lielers on Instagram, Threads, and X, and subscribe to the YouTube channel at It's Lielers. And also do not forget to follow me on TikTok at Lielers. Lielers on TikTok. Even more reasons why you guys should subscribe to my YouTube channel. I'm letting you guys know in advance. There will be 2 blog videos coming up in the next 2 months. Dun, dun, dun. If you guys didn't listen to the end of last week's episode, definitely go check it out. But I did mention, because of the success of the previous blog video where I went to the Houston Horror Film Fest, it is currently sitting at 200 and something views on YouTube. I was like, sweet Jesus. Because of that, I will be going to SpaceCon in San Antonio, and that will be until October. So yes, we will be doing a blog video, heading towards San Antonio, checking out the conventions, all of that. And because of that weekend, there won't be a podcast episode. So I'm letting y'all know in advance. But again, that's until October. The other one is a surprise. I'm not going to say what it is. That's why, even more reasons, y'all need to subscribe to that YouTube channel. When y'all see that video, you guys are going to be like, oh. But no, I'm not letting y'all know oh yeah, because of this blog video, we won't do a podcast episode. You guys will know if I decide not to record a podcast episode to replace a blog video. But no, this one is definitely a surprise. So just keep that in mind. And yeah, no, I will be able to edit it. We won't have to take a break from, doing a podcast episode. So yeah, go subscribe to that YouTube channel again at It's Lielers. If not, you guys are more than welcome to check out the links underneath the description for the episodes. If you guys are listening on podcast platforms, you can definitely check it out underneath it. If all fails, you guys are more than welcome to check out my link tree. That's either on my social media or again on the episode. So there is no way for you guys to not find me on YouTube. It's out there. So yeah. So this week, we are going to be covering All In. It is currently happening right now as we speak in London. So by the time I wrap up the episode, I'm pretty sure the results are going to be out there. I'm not watching it in the background because, again, I do not have $50 to spend and watch just for this moment. That's it. That's why I'm like, no, I rather wish they had a subscription plan or something for me to just subscribe and pay a really low fee. But yeah, I get it, the company needs to make their money somehow, but again, I'm like, not for me. So I have other ways to find out the results. The good thing is that by the time we reach to that end where I usually talk about wrestling, I'm leaving it for the last part for the same reason that, once we reach to that point, hopefully the pay-per-view has already wrapped up. And then we can talk about the results. But not only that, we're also going to be talking about The Crow. I didn't get to watch the movie specifically, but we do have thoughts about the Rotten Tomatoes score. Not only that, we're also going to be talking about Gamescom and then a little bit more of Ronnie Radke drama and everything else you may have missed on this week. So without further ado, let's go ahead and get this episode started. So this week, and I can't believe I'm saying it because it's been a year. Sweet Jesus, a year can go by so fast and we're not realizing it. But yeah, this week we're going to be remembering Bray Wyatt. I didn't realize that yesterday was the anniversary of his passing, and I really wanted to take a moment and talk about it because I know last year we briefly talked about it, but I think I was going through that stage where I wasn't uploading every single week, and I think when I did release the episode, we did mention it briefly and my reactions towards it. But it's crazy to see that, again, 1 year we were still thinking, oh, Bray Wyatt's gonna come back. We're hoping that WWE didn't bury him. And now this year, while he's gone, we have the Wyatt Six now making their debut. Uncle Howdy, also known as Taylor Rotunda, is now carrying Bray's legacy. and I'm like, okay, yeah, we're gonna talk about it because, oh my God. I'm still sad about it, and I get very emotional, especially when people are posting, like the remembrance, the tribute that they did when we found out he passed away last year. Okay, the more I think about it, the more I hear the songs, especially his theme song, it makes me very emotional because I don't think people realize, again, like, I remember we talked about it, and I'm going to say it again just in case if you guys missed it out. Bray Wyatt is our Eddie Guerrero. So when Eddie Guerrero passed away, I was so young. I only knew Eddie just a little bit, but to a point that I couldn't fully understand his legacy, his impact. And then when it comes to Bray Wyatt, somebody that I looked up to, especially me rambling about his character and finding out that he's no longer here, it's like it stings. It really does. Because I was really, really looking forward to seeing him come back as the Fiend. But, shit happens. And now we just gotta support his brother because, again, that's his legacy. We still talk about it, and especially like the other wrestlers, because they got to work with him. It's different for them, again, looking up to somebody who passes away, and then now like you're working with somebody, your coworker, who can also be a mentor, a trainer, pass away. It's a different feeling. So Bray Wyatt, like, even though I never got to meet him personally, but that's one of the people I do regret not seeing. I only got to see him from afar during Royal Rumble back in 2020 before the pandemic, but that's the only time I had the opportunity, and I still have the recording where I got to see him do his entrance. It was him versus Bryan Danielson, or Daniel Bryan, however you guys want to call him. And he was defending the WWE Universal Championship. So it was a good moment because of course he won that match. But I was like, oh, I can't wait to see him again. And that was it for me. So anywho, I know we started off a little bit emotional, but let's go ahead and start talking about other things. Starting off with The Crow. As I mentioned before, I have not watched this movie, but there is some things I do want to talk about, and it's not just the Rotten Tomatoes score. I'm gonna give you guys some pros and cons about this movie because I have an idea what it's about thanks to TikTok. But here's the thing about this movie. It has mixed reviews. I hate it when it happens because you can't agree with either, certain people, whether if it's an actual critic or just a fan watching the movie. And the thing is that when it comes to Rotten audience score, you can agree with one or the other. But I feel like if you're watching a mixed review, just go watch it with an open mind. You go watch it, you put out your thoughts, and go from there. It sucks that I can't really put my thoughts in because I was busy yesterday to a point that I couldn't even watch the damn movie. But, I mean, if I do eventually watch it, maybe I'll put in my thoughts in there. But let's go ahead and start up with the Rotten Tomatoes score. So right now, critics for the Rotten Tomatoes score are rating this movie at a solid 20%. So in other words, critics hate it. But if you look at the audience score, it is standing at a 66%. So you can't say, oh, it was the best movie, but you also can't say like, oh, this shit suck, it's not worth your time. As I read the reviews, I think the only conclusion I can come up with is that this movie is decent for goth people. So like if you're looking for a dark, gothic, romantic movie, this movie's it for you. So I got to see a video on TikTok where somebody was actually talking about the movie and not, spoiled it. But he did mention that the plot of becoming the Crow took forever. So you're basically just getting like a background of how Eric and Shelly became deceased, I guess. If you guys have not seen The Crow, just go watch it. It's available on Amazon Prime Video, actually. That's where I was watching it the other day. So if you guys are not familiar with it, I'm going to be talking about the movie itself. And I'm talking like the OG one that came out in 1994. So if you guys are wondering what happened that probably led to these events, this movie, the one that's out in theaters, covers that. So it's not going to be like a reboot, of the original movie. So stop expecting that. Just go in there with an open mind. And I feel like maybe that's why people that were reviewing it in the Rotten Tomatoes score were expecting like a reboot, more modern, but in reality it was kind of similar, but not like storyline wise. But either way, like me personally, I've seen the trailers, and yeah, it was giving me that goth impersonation. But my thing is that yes, when you watch the trailer, you do get that different vibe. I mentioned it before where I was kind of not feeling the part where Eric and Shelly were criminals while they were still alive. At the same time, it's like there's so much passion, but is it too much? I'm leaving you guys with that information. That's why I'm like, just go over there if you're interested on watching it. Me, I might just watch it later when it comes out in digital because it was just not calling my attention. Yeah, sure, I was excited for it, but when I watched the trailer, I'm like, okay, I'm not feeling it anymore. But hey, you know, everybody has different tastes in movies. And with that being said, I'm giving you guys a quick side note. I will be doing a movie review for Beetlejuice in the next 2 weeks because that's when it comes out. I did get to watch the first movie, like the original one, so now I have an idea of what's it gonna be. So it was like Beetlejuice, I guess it took a while for the scary part to come in. And the Crow, it was the same way. It took a while for Eric to become the Crow. I don't know. But no, this one I already know what to expect, and I've seen already the actors promoting the movie, so I'm like, I'm very intrigued to see what it's all gonna be about. So yeah, keep in mind that's what's gonna happen in 2 weeks if you guys are interested in hearing what I gotta say about Beetlejuice. Now let's go ahead and move it along. So last week we talked about Alien Romulus, and I got the report from Variety that says supposedly director Fede Alvarez is open to directing an Alien vs. Predator film, but only if he has help. He says, quote, maybe it's something I have to co-direct with my buddy Dan. And then he continues on with saying, I'll direct half and he'll direct another half. The thing is that he was talking about Dan Trachtenberg, who directed the movie Prey, the one that's available on Hulu. All I'm saying is that I want this to happen. I saw some fans have mixed thoughts about it. Some were saying, would it be a reboot or a sequel to the first and second Alien vs. Predator? And now that we're talking about sequels, alongside with those thoughts were people asking that they rather have a sequel to Prey or even Alien Covenant. And I'm like, I thought Covenant ruined it for me, but oh well, other people are fans about it too. But I don't know, keep your eyes peeled if it does happen. You guys heard it here first. Or unless if y'all follow Variety on social media. It is also being said that Todd Phillips said in an interview that Joker Folie à Deux apparently opens with a Looney Tunes inspired animated segment that features Joker himself. Personally, I think this is adorable and I would love to see it. But will this give like a negative reaction towards the critics? All I'm saying. So, anywho, another thing I also wanted to talk about, if you guys didn't check it out, but there is a new animated Lord of the Rings movie coming this year. Now, I never watched Lord of the Rings. Yeah, I know, be shocked. I'm sorry, guys. I just never had the time. And then all of these movies came out, and then The Hobbit came out, and then that one series came out on Prime Video. I'm like, yeah, I don't got time for it. But if you guys are fans of the franchise, you guys are more than welcome to check out the trailer. It is available for you guys to watch. So this next coming film is going to be called Lord of the Rings, The War of the Rohirrim. I'm hoping I'm pronouncing it right. And it will be in theaters this Christmas. And the last thing I wanted to talk about in the movies category is that Culture Crave says that Lucasfilms is very interested in casting Keanu Reeves in an upcoming Star Wars project. He was previously in the talks to play Master Soul in the Acolyte series, but you know, we'll talk about that in a bit. So in my personal opinion, I think it'll be a great addition if Keanu does join in the franchise, but I feel like he should be like involved in a upcoming movie, maybe, I don't know. But if I get any more details, whether if this is confirmed or not, stay tuned. We are going to be talking about that. All right, and now moving on to the TV category. So imagine watching a series that features God of War, Pac-Man, Warhammer 40k, and more. To properly explain this, has anybody seen Netflix's Love, Death, and Robots? Well, their creators are actually partnering up with Amazon Prime Video to create this animated anthology series called Secret Level. If you guys haven't done so, the trailer is available for you guys to check out. But it kicks off with a scene with Warhammer Space Marines walking up on top of the Prime logo video. It looks pretty cool. But it is said to have like 15 stories inspired by these different games. Amongst those games are, how I mentioned, Pac-Man, Mega Man's in there, God of War, Ghost of Tsushima, Dungeons and Dragons, Armored Core, Warhammer 40k, Crossfire, Sifu, I never heard of that game, Spelunky, The Outer Worlds 2, Honor of Kings, New World, Aeternum, Exodus, and Unreal Tournament. And this series is set to premiere this coming December 10th. So I'm definitely interested in watching it, especially the story behind Warhammer 40k. I wonder what they're gonna do with that. But it's not like a lore, it's mostly like a little episode focus on the game, but not exactly. Like, you're gonna have some backstories on there. So that's why I'm like, if you watch Love, Death, and Robots, you get the impersonation of how this coming series is gonna be. But yeah, whenever that time comes, we might potentially talk about it. Who knows? Now, the next thing I also wanted to talk about, this is a spoiler. So if you want to skip maybe the next minute, please do so. And it's focused on the upcoming Vision series. So The Hollywood Reporter has confirmed that James Spader will be returning as Ultron in this coming series. And I'm like, look, I know it's a spoiler news, but at the same time, I wish that, even me included, we didn't get to find out like this through social media. Sometimes I wish they could have just left it as a surprise. But then again, it is a TV series, so maybe there's not that much hope. So what I'm thinking is that I have a feeling that Ultron might just come back as a flashback from Vision. So who knows? I'm excited for it. We already got high hopes for that one. In other news, it looks like the movie Pacific Rim is getting a prequel TV series. I saw a report from Variety that says that Legendary Entertainment is looking into the TV deal with the Pacific Rim writers. So who knows if that's gonna happen? I have a feeling that if it does go through with Legendary, it may go to Apple TV, since, you know, I'm assuming because that's where the Godzilla / Monarch series is available, but I may be wrong. Now, I know I mentioned The Acolyte earlier, so yeah, if you guys didn't know, Disney Plus announced that the series has been canceled after only one season. I feel like this is a first for the Star Wars franchise, and I still have not even watched it. So yeah, I went to the comment section and people were saying that they were not surprised. So I'm like, was it that bad? So yeah, I definitely need to look into that and, you know, judge it for myself. But oh well, it is what it is. The other thing I also wanted to talk about, it's anime news, believe it or not, and this is involving Jujutsu Kaisen. So if you guys didn't know, the manga series is coming to an end on September 30th. And if you guys also didn't know, the animated series is already heading to its third season. But how many more seasons will there be left for them to get caught up with the manga? So fans are thinking potentially the series might not just end there, like with just Jujutsu Kaisen. And possibly some characters will have their own spin-off series. I don't know, okay? So I only watched the first movie. I need to watch the actual animated series and then get familiar with it. And then we'll see, like, oh my god, no, hopefully, you know, so-and-so gets a spin-off series. But yeah, that's what the fans are saying, so I'm letting you guys know. And it's probably good that they're saying that because there is a lot of fandom with Jujutsu Kaisen. I mean, look at Demon Slayer. The manga ended already, a while ago? And we're approaching to the end when it comes to the animated series. So hopefully they continue on too. And with that being said, that actually wraps up the TVs category. Now let's go ahead and talk about music. Starting off with my boy Sid Wilson. So everybody was panicking, including myself, because we saw a video that he posted on social media where he was hospitalized after suffering some nasty burns, supposedly from an explosion. I don't know if this was during like a Slipknot show or something else. So Sid posted on social media like a video of his condition where you see his burn marks and blisters. The blister exists. And he even joked around by saying that he was allergic to fire. I'm like, okay, I think he's just trying to calm our nerves. My boy suffered like broken legs, bruises, cuts, and now burns. Like, he's brutal as hell, honestly. He is recovering and he will be fine, thank God. I just saw a live that he just did a couple minutes ago and I was like, okay, I get it. He's okay. Like, he's already dispatched. He's at home and has his wife, Nurse Kelly, attending to his needs. And Slipknot actually posted a message on their social media about the whole situation, and it said, quote, "Our brother Sid Wilson was in an accident today and sustained burns across his body. He is recovering with his family and will still join us on stage at Rocklahoma next weekend. He thanks everyone for the well wishes and we'll see you all soon." And I'm like, okay. But again, I think Sid already knows, like, hey, I've been through so much. I'm still alive. We're here. We're going to push through. But yeah, for him to make a speedy recovery, I'm over here like, give him another week maybe. But hey, again, he performed with Slipknot with broken legs. So I'm like, yeah, he can perform still with burns. Don't give us another heart attack, sweet Jesus. Anywho, let's go ahead and move it along. I mentioned that we were going to be talking about All In. And yes, I'm hearing the news and I'm like, oh, I can't wait to get there. But since we're in the music category, I really want to talk about Fozzy. Since they were already in London, they were performing and whatnot. I got to see a video that they posted, of them doing a cover of Killing in the Name by Rage Against the Machine. And you see Chris Jericho, singing and whatnot. And all of a sudden, I see Swerve Strickland just joining in. And I'm like, what is going on over here? And I'm only saying that because I have never seen Swerve actually be on the mic and perform in front of a crowd. So it took me off guard. But yeah, they looked like they were having the time of their lives there. I saw it on Fozzy's social media. So if y'all want to check out that video, definitely go do so. And then the next thing I wanted to talk about is just a little bit of Ronnie Radke drama. I wasn't going to touch bases on it because it's going to be Ronnie. People are still going to be hating on him. And we mentioned this last week when I was talking about their new album. The thing is that there's two things I want to point out on what's been going on. So if you guys do not know, Falling in Reverse is currently on tour and they're joined in with Black Veil Brides, and they have been getting criticized for touring with them to the point that the lead singer Andy Biersack had no choice but to respond, and he posted this big ass tweet. I'm surprised the character limit didn't cut him off. But he's over there explaining that, hey, we have to tour with different artists. However, when it comes to Falling in Reverse, he does defend Ronnie Radke, and he does say that, not just him, but the band go out of their way to just treat them with so much kindness, enthusiasm, which sounds like they haven't experienced that before with different other bands. And here, they're coming into the scene, and not only the band, but the fans are appreciating Black Veil Brides. And he would say that, he's so accustomed to seeing other places where they would say BVB sucks, Black Veil Bride sucks. But here, he's not getting it. So he's not gonna say, oh, well, you guys are hating him, or even Falling in Reverse, we're not gonna tour with them. How are they gonna be judging a band when they haven't been able to personally experience and then saying, oh, okay, maybe the fans are actually right, or whoever's saying that Falling in Reverse or Ronnie Radke sucks, whatever. But Andy's not gonna let that interfere with his own opinion. So he gave him a chance. He's like, let's go ahead and do this tour. And it's the quite opposite, because again, I feel like society just wants to lean in on what they hear and not what they experience, kind of like how I was talking about The Crow. That's why I'm like, we have mixed reviews, just go watch it. Don't listen to me, just go watch it. And so with this case, it sucks to hear that people are still gonna hate either Ronnie or Falling in Reverse regardless. And the more we talk about this whole thing, And even Andy said it, quote, the most hated band in the universe. I'm over here like, this sounds like this whole chisme that I had with Angela Aguilar like a few episodes back. If you guys didn't hear what I had to say, go check it out. But, you know, we have people that are hated in Mexico. And, you know, Angela Aguilar is one of them. And then we saw Carla Panini, right? And then last week, literally the title of the episode says, does our past define our present? And I talked about, you know, with the whole thing with Ronnie, his past being, you know, shitty and whatnot. But he's sober, he's doing better. But people are still hating for him for things that he did in the past. And I'm leading towards this other drama that's been going on with him and this other person on TikTok. I forgot her name. But the thing is that, like, she says she's a girl's girl. And she's over here defending a friend that supposedly had, you know, an accusation. And that's why, you know, she's going to be hating Falling in Reverse to this day. But then Ronnie's over there saying, hey, if you're over here hating on me for this accusation, why are you following so-and-so, which also has the same accusations, right? And that person responded to Ronnie saying, okay, you got my attention, so we're going to do this duet. And the whole time, you know, Ronnie's over there like, you know, cry baby, this, and that, complaining. But this person's over here literally saying that the reason why she hates him is because of the way how she was treating for doing a cover of, you know, their band. And I think it was Escape the Fate at the time. And, you know, Ronnie was like, take it down, you know, whatever. And because of that, she would still hate him. However, I was not expecting this, because as I'm, you know, watching and listening the video, I was like, hey, like, whatever happened to her being a girl's girl? Like, she never addressed that whole situation. And Ronnie actually liked the comment that I posted. It was like the only like, by the way. Nobody else has noticed it. But I'm over here like, you know, Ronnie saw what I said. Anywho. And the reason why I actually said that, I don't know if I mentioned it in the past, but fuck it, we'll say it again. So Ronnie, before all of this mess, he actually pointed out that whole thing with homegirl being a girl's girl and whatnot. And he's saying that, you know, he never did the claim that the person's friend did. And at the same time, it's like, it's so shitty that people would say anything just to get attention. While in other places, people are actually going through that shit and they don't get taken serious. And that's the thing I fucking hate, that, you know, people are actual victims who say things and are not taken serious because of shitty people saying false allegations and whatnot. And people keep doing it, and because the longer the pattern keeps going, women or even men are not going to be taken serious when they're actual victims. So Ronnie pointed that out, and that's what got homegirl's attention. And, you know, I said that comment for the same reason. I'm like, no, like, he is fucking dead on serious. If he's claiming it never happened, you're overshadowing actual victims. And that's why I posted that comment. And I was surprised again. He fucking liked it. And so that's the thing. Like, I'm not siding with Ronnie because of everything that's being said. Like, he's actually proving some things right. And he's saying it in the most respectful way. But yet, homegirl and other people, their problem is the fact that Ronnie has the time to actually respond to negative comments. And I'm just like, really, guys? Like, and there's that saying, like, don't worry about other people, worry about your damn self. I feel like the reason why Ronnie does attack the negative comments, which again, I did say last week for comedic purposes, but I feel like it could be a marketing strategy. Like, that's the thing. It made sense because that's how Ronnie ended up in my For You page on TikTok, you know, like. And I'm not saying, I started listening to Falling in Reverse because of that. No, like I told you guys last week, I listened to Escape the Fate because they were in this album that I have. The CD is like in my room somewhere. But I already know about them. And then eventually, you know, Ronnie landing Falling in Reverse. And then I heard of them, but I never like had the time to actually listen to every single song and say, oh my God, I listen to them, I love their music. Like, no. And then Ronnie came on my For You page, just him responding to negative comments. And it's just that particular sound that he uses where as soon as he starts talking shit, you hear the dramatic sound. But I think for me, what made me love this guy even more is because the birds were involved, especially one that just started, making its noises back and forth. I was like, okay, this is too funny. I gotta follow him. But moral of the fucking story, when you listen to an argument, always try to see it in both sides. And the thing is that when I hear this whole thing of why people hate Ronnie Radke, it makes no fucking sense. Again, the past is in the past. That's not him anymore. He's getting his shit together. He's not treating Soraya like shit. She can vouch for him. If he's talking shit online, first of all, that's his platform. He can do whatever he pleases. Second of all, it's negative shit because, again, people are attacking him for no fucking reason. See, and that's my thing. Why are you guys so pissed at him talking shit back to people that fucking initiated it? Like, ugh, I swear, it makes no sense, guys. And the whole thing about Homegirl, I'm telling you, I'm kind of skeptical about it. Especially the fact where she said that she gets more relevance when she talks about a certain topic that happens to be inappropriate, by the way. So yeah, those are my 2 cents about the whole situation. Say what you will about the guy. Again, look at the tour, for example. He did not cancel a tour for low fucking ticket sales. You know who did? J. Lulu. That's my other thing. So I'm like, if his band is doing well, it's because there's actual people that are willing to listen to him. And his platform continues to grow. I think I would say there's not that much of hate when it comes to his fans. I would see the comment section of every video that he posts and everybody's just like laughing, having a good time. But that's the thing. No matter what you guys say, at the end of the day, the fans are still going to be supporting Ronnie Radke. And the haters are still going to be hating on Ronnie Radke. But I just want you guys to see it in my perspective. And I'm hoping that, you get to see, oh, okay, maybe this whole hatred doesn't make any sense anymore. Other people, however, need to be hated and continue to be hated. Like I mentioned J. Lulu. Why do I hate her? Is because she's disrespectful to every single person alive. She would do anything to become relevant. There's a reason why Mariah Carey even said, who? When they asked her about her thoughts on J-Lo. The good thing is that everybody finally united and said fuck her because she's over there being disrespectful to fucking human beings. And I'm talking like people that are in service, like waiters and fucking cashiers. She would make them feel so low about themselves. Like, bitch, you were there too. I don't even know why I'm talking about her. But hey, fuck it. Ben Affleck just had enough about her too. But it's sad that he let her get the initiative to file for divorce. But either way, Ben Affleck deserved better. And I'm glad that he's free. Anywho, let's go ahead and move it along. Oh my god, that actually wrapped up the music category. Now let's go ahead and talk about gaming. So Gamescom 2024 had a ton of major announcements and we need to talk about it. Remember how I mentioned a possible Borderlands 4 game? Well, it was confirmed. Gearbox and 2K Games released a teaser trailer of the game where there's an invasion to a new planet and all you see is falling debris. One of the pieces happens to be the iconic Psycho Mask. So the game is set to release in 2025 and you can already wishlist it. What's up with that? Come on, guys. The reaction was the same as before. People assumed the game will not save the movie that flopped. And I actually got to see a clip of the crowd as they were watching the trailer. In the comment section, one person was like, and the crowd goes mild. Literally not a lot of people were excited about it. But anywho, speaking of the movie, it was actually announced that the Borderlands movie will be coming to digital this Friday. Less than 2 weeks after its release in theaters? I don't know, but I'm gonna ask the same question that I did literally last week. Was releasing a new game a great strategy? Let me know. Another thing that happened at the event is that a new Dying Light game has been confirmed by Techland, and they are naming it Dying Light the Beast. So far, no release date has been confirmed, but if you are a fan of the game, keep your eyes open for any upcoming updates. The other game, Indiana Jones and the Great Circle, will be released on December 9th only on Xbox, and PlayStation 5 players will have to wait until spring 2025 to play this game. I don't know if that was a good strategy, because it looks like whenever that game does get released on PlayStation, not a lot of people are going to play it. The other things that were also announced was Mafia: The Old Country and Captain America and the Winter Soldier will be coming to Marvel Rivals. The last thing I also wanted to talk about in the gaming category is that Microsoft will be releasing an all-digital Xbox One Series X on October 15, 2024. So it's good news for those that do not like playing physical copy games. However, digital copies may tend to be a little bit more expensive. Just putting that out there. Alongside with that, there will be a special edition 2TB Xbox One Series X and 1TB Xbox Series S in Robot White. That special edition one, I'm not gonna lie, it looks pretty cool. It's giving me cosmic vibes, so definitely go check it out if you're planning to buy it. Well, that was some quick news, and that kind of wraps up the gaming section. So now let's go ahead and talk about wrestling. But first, yes, we're gonna have to talk about WWE and then make my way to AEW. I was surprised to know that we're gonna be getting 2 WWE premium live events this coming weekend. We're getting Bash in Berlin and NXT No Mercy. So far, we do have 4 confirmed matches at No Mercy, and here are my predictions. So one of them is going to be for the NXT Tag Team Championship, and it's going to be Chase U versus Nathan Frazier and Axiom. I think Chase U will retain. I'm still wondering if Nathan and Axiom are going to end up clashing just like Wesley and the Rascals did. That's all I got to say about that. But yeah, Chase U will probably retain since they just won the championship. The next confirmed match is Ova Femi versus Tony D'Angelo for the WWE North American Championship. This one came as a shocker for me because there was no storyline building up to it. It just happened. So I'm like, okay, these are my thoughts. The only way Tony D'Angelo would be able to win the match is if his crew were to interfere. However, I still think Ova will retain. It's not going to happen anytime soon. The next one is for the WWE Women's Championship, which is Roxanne Perez versus Jada Parker. Hands down, Roxanne is going to retain. Ain't no way she's going to lose to Jada because, again, no storyline was built up. It just happened. Boom. However, if Roxanne retains, I am still waiting for Stephanie Vaquero to debut. I feel like she will be one of those people that will be able to dethrone her. Just saying, I'm waiting for it. The other one that was confirmed, this happened on Tuesday, and it's going to be for the NXT Championship. Ethan Page versus Joe Hendry. I really want Joe to win. Come on. Now, I want to say this Tuesday, it was very interesting for the qualifying match. Like, y'all should have seen him. It was him versus Wesley and Pete Dunne. Like, there was this part where Joe actually picked up Wes and threw him onto the announce table like nothing. But then again, Wesley is like pretty thin. And then the only reason why Joe Hendry actually won is because Trick Williams got involved. And I'm like, hold up, the return of Trick. Honestly though, it makes sense for Trick to still have beef with Ethan Page because of that whole mess of how Ethan ended up taking the NXT Championship away from him. But still, I'm over here like, give Joe a chance. But at the same time, I get it. People are going to be like, it's too early for him. But yeah, those are my thoughts. And then since we're already talking about, the contenders match that happened on Tuesday, while that mess was happening, Wesley was actually attacked by Zachary Wentz. So I wondered, I doubt it though, but I wonder what if they add that match to the No Mercy card. But at the same time, I'm like, they could also prolong the storyline until the next upcoming PLE, so that way they can settle their beef. But we'll find out for sure this coming Tuesday. And then 2 more matches have been added to the Bash in Berlin's Premium Live event. One of them happens to be CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre part 45,680. But this time it will be a strap match. If you think about it, I feel like they're not even fighting for honor at this time, but instead they're really fighting over a friendship bracelet. Which, by the way, I heard supposedly that the person who created the bracelet is now suing WWE because of the attention it got and wants money for it. I don't know if this is true, but do what you will with that information. And then the next match that was also confirmed is Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill versus the Unholy Union, also known as Alba Fire and Isla Dawn. What a odd name. I guess go ahead and give Bianca and Jade Cargill a tag team name while you're at it. Y'all didn't give that to them while they were champions. But anywho, no hate on Bianca and Jade because I'm assuming they're finally gonna get their titles back. But anywho, we will be talking about the results of Bash in Berlin next week. I'm pretty sure we're not gonna be talking about No Mercy results until the following week. So there's that. Now, that wraps up WWE. Let's talk about AEW All In. Oh my god. So yes, you guys are hearing this kind of live in a way, but All In finally wrapped up, so I could talk about all of the results. Hooray! That's a first for this podcast. So yeah. But anywho, I just want to say shout out to Fiend Warrior 39 on TikTok for letting me know there was a watch party in Houston for this particular event. But unfortunately, we are doing this podcast episode during the pay-per-view. But now that we got the results, all right, let's talk about it. I ain't even had to put in my predictions because again, I was like, what's new? But yeah, now we get to react to the results. So I usually do take breaks as I'm recording the episode. And as soon as I opened up my Instagram, the first thing I see is that Jamie Hayter is officially back after a serious injury. And it looks like she is ready to fight Saraya. And I'm like, what did I miss? Oh my god. But I'm sure they're gonna explain the storyline in the upcoming either Dynamite or Rampage episodes. But anywho, the next match that I also got to see was the Patriarchy defending their AEW Trios Championships against Bang Bang Gang, House of Black, and Pac and Blackpool Combat Club in a ladder match. Now remember, I haven't seen the full match, like what's been happening, but I'm pretty sure it was brutal because I'm reading this article on usatoday.com. And they were updating the results and they rated the match 4.25 stars out of 5. So I'm pretty sure it was really good. It did say that Pac was the one that ended up climbing on the top of the ladder to secure the win. However, Luchasaurus was in the back and failed to stop Pac from winning the titles. But hey, it's better than... I actually, like, when I saw the match, I was hoping Bang Bang Gang were gonna be the ones winning, but it makes sense as we keep getting towards the end on why Blackpool Combat Club ended up winning. We'll get into that. The next match was Toni Storm versus Mariah May for the AEW Women's Championship. This one did had a good storyline, so I'm like, okay, finally for once. So if you guys do not know, Mariah May was basically Toni Storm's protege. They've been running the women's division for quite some time. However, it looks like Mariah May was like, you know what? I'm tired. I'm going to go ahead and betray Toni Storm. And this was a really good match from what I've seen. It became brutal as well. And again, USA Today rated the match 4.25 stars out of 5. And surprisingly enough, Mariah May pinned Toni Storm and is now the new AEW Women's Champion. I won't be surprised if Toni Storm is going to try to get her rematch against Mariah May. But after that, what will happen next? I can't wait to see it. The next one was Chris Jericho versus Hook for the FTW Championship. I did get to see a clip where Chris Jericho was doing his entrance and Fozzy was in the back, of course, performing. What I laughed even more was that the music didn't start until Chris Jericho came out, say, "Hi guys, I am the Learning Tree," and then and I'm like, really? Either way, it was hilarious. Now, throughout the match, I'm pretty sure Chris Jericho dominated the match because he had Brian Keith and Big Bill in the back. However, it looks like the only way Hook ended up winning was because he locked in the red drum on Chris Jericho to the point that even his dad, Taz, had to intervene to stop Brian Keith from interfering that lock. And Hook ended up winning and is now the new FTW champion. The next match, which was pretty interesting, the way how it finished, is the Young Bucks versus FTR versus the Acclaim for the AEW Tag Team Champions. Now, apparently, the Young Bucks ended up winning, but the only way they won is because Nicholas Jackson, ended up hitting Dax Harwood with a belt shot, but Dax still ended up kicking out at 2. But then they managed to land an EVP trigger that sealed the pinfall for Matthew Jackson, meaning that they retained the tag team championships. And then afterwards, as they were celebrating the win, they got visited by James Drake and Zach Gibson, also known as the Grizzled Young Veterans. At one point, they were joined Schism on WWE NXT. But now they're in AEW, and it's like, what are they doing here? But it looks like that they were already saying, hey, we're up for the challenge, just so you know. And then afterwards, they ended up attacking FTR. I was surprised to see them on AEW. Apparently, I had to look it up, and they already made their AEW debut back in Coalition, back in April. And I'm like, oh, they disappeared for a while. Interesting. But anywho, I'm getting sidetracked, so let's go ahead and keep talking about All In. The next one was the Casino Gauntlet match, and I'm not gonna talk about everybody who has participated. I just want to focus on one person who made his AEW debut today. Freaking Ricochet. What the? I don't think I ever confirmed Ricochet's departure with WWE. I know I mentioned it like, hey, there were rumors. I just didn't know if they were confirmed. And then we did also mention, potentially speaking, he might end up going to AEW. I was just not expecting for it to come out this soon. But yeah, Ricochet ended up making his debut. He actually made a great impression. A lot of fans were saying, like on AEW's post of Ricochet debuting, saying like, oh, well, AEW missed out because Ricochet did had a good opportunity. And honestly, yeah, there were gaps in there that he could have made a good storyline while he was still in WWE. Me personally, I thought he could make a good storyline with Sami Zayn for the Intercontinental Championship, but no. Or potentially speaking, he could have been the next leader for the Alpha Academy. You know, just saying, WWE, hire me. But anywho, he did make a good impression, as I mentioned earlier. But however, he didn't win the Casino Gauntlet match. The win ended up going to Christian Cage by a pinfall and with the help of Luchasaurus. Apparently, he's not going by Killswitch anymore. What's all that about? But anywho, I can't wait to see what AEW has in store for Ricochet, and I'm hoping we get to see something of him on Dynamite this coming Wednesday. So yeah, I will be watching finally. The next match is MJF versus Will Ospreay for the AEW International Championship, even though MJF is calling it AEW American Championship. It looks like in the middle of the match, MJF was trying to secure a victory by, throwing some brass knuckles towards Will Ospreay. However, he got stopped by somebody that was masked at first and later revealed himself to be Daniel Garcia. And him and MJF apparently have some beef going around. MJF kind of got distracted in a way. So now it's like, oh my god, all hope is lost. Here we go. And Will Ospreay secured the victory by hitting MJF with the Tiger Driver 91 and got the 1-2-3 count. So I'm like, hooray. And I got to see a video where they were giving him the belt, but now they switched it to the International Championship. I'm like, finally. Alright, so yeah, for once I'm happy on this one. After that, it was Mercedes Money versus Dr. Britt Baker for the AEW TNT Championship. Apparently, the entrances were great. I got to see Mercedes come in a carriage with, I want to say it was like 4 corgis, and I'm like, is that Ryu? Which one is Ryu? It was so adorable. However, I want to read what usatoday.com has said because part of me is not surprised. They rated this match a 3 out of 5 stars. So this is what it says. Whether it's ring rust or a concerning trend of her career, Britt Baker seems to have taken a step back or stall when it comes to her in-ring work. While the match with Monet wasn't bad, it was definitely disjointed, and that was painfully noticeable throughout. They won the crowd over with solid work, but it wasn't enough to overcome some of the issues in this match. One that probably should have been as sloppy as it was. In other words, it makes sense why Britt Baker didn't win this match. Now, who knows who's going to be the next opponent for Mercedes? Maybe her little friend over there that's going to backstab her at one point. But anywho, let's go ahead and move it along. The next one was Jack Perry versus Darby Allin for the TNT Championship. But this match was a casket match. And of course, I'm pretty sure anything else is legal. I did see a clip where Darby Allin ends up picking Jack Perry and throws him on pure glass. So yeah, there was blood. However, Jack Perry ended up securing the win by putting Darby Allin in the casket. And then next thing we know, the Young Bucks come out and tried to ignite the casket by pouring gasoline. And then all of a sudden, Mr. I'm retired, I'm not coming to in-ring competition, Sting shows up and, you know, same old, same old. And speaking of retirement, the last match was Swerve Strickland versus Bryan Danielson for the AEW Championship. I did get to see like a quick interview between Renee Paquette and Brie Garcia, formerly known as Brie Bella. And they talked about the potential retirement that might happen with Bryan Danielson because he did say that if he doesn't win this match, that's it, he's retiring. And Brie talked about how, yeah, it's gonna be hard because if he does retire, obviously he's gonna miss the wrestling part, but he also wants to get back at it, especially when he does that at home with the kids, like trying to teach them how to wrestle and whatnot. But then she's also excited because if he does retire, then they'll be able to travel, hike, you know, they were mostly like outdoorsy and whatnot. So she does have mixed emotions about this whole situation. Me, before I found out the results, I actually believed that he was probably going to retire for sure if they were going to do that interview. But I got to see the match, blood was shed, and surprisingly enough, Bryan Danielson defeated Swerve Strickland for the AEW Championship. Somehow, I think Swerve Strickland let his guard down and Bryan Danielson ended up doing a Basuki knee. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. To the point that Swerve Strickland ended up tapping out. I'm like, and yeah, a lot of people say this was a good match. Afterwards, there was like a little celebration with Blackpool Combat. And again, this is why it makes sense why they're now the Trios champion. It's like we're in a whole new era finally. But they're going over there to the ringside and they're getting Brie, you know, their kids in the ring and they're having that little celebration. It was a beautiful moment, but yeah, Bryan Danielson is now having gold around his waist in a different wrestling company. So I can't wait to see what the storyline is gonna lead off to. It better be good. But I have a feeling after this, that's it. He's gonna retire. Supposedly, I think they're saying that the moment Bryan Danielson retires, that's when WWE is ready to make the call and say, let's go ahead and induct you to the Hall of Fame. So who knows if we will see. But with that being said, that finally wraps up this week's episode. As always, guys, make sure to follow my social media accounts at It's Lielers on Instagram, Threads, and X, and subscribe to the YouTube channel at It's Lielers. And also do not forget to follow me on TikTok at Lielers. Lielers on TikTok. So, as I mentioned, next week we're going to be covering WWE Bash in Berlin. Hopefully, maybe I do go to a wrestling watch party, potentially. We'll see. But anywho, how I mentioned earlier, make sure to subscribe to that YouTube channel because we're getting 2 vlog videos coming soon. So I cannot wait to show that to you guys. I also still cannot wrap my head that next week is already September, Labor Day weekend. Oh my God. Do I have any plans? No. I wanted to go out of town, but no, like I said, it's gonna have to be until SpaceCon, so there's that. Either way, I'm just glad we're getting an extra day off, so yay! But anywho, I hope you guys did enjoy this week's episode, and I will talk to you guys on the next one.